Hello, Bard haters, and welcome to another fine We Hate Bards Let's Play. I'm Ben.
And I'm Chris, and I got a very good feeling about today, Ben. Very good.
Do you?
No deaths. There'll be no deaths today, Ben. It's
There,
gonna be onward to the top.
I get the feeling there's going to be a lot of deaths by both of us.
Not true. Not true. And it totally didn't happen. Fake news that I totally didn't die by a giant flaming chariot ridden by a skull demon.
Well, it's fake news in that it wasn't a giant skull demon. It was the executioner's chariot.
That's right. And I totally
Yes.
died. After about 45 minutes it took me to get up there.
Yeah, so it's back to me playing again, and I've decided that this is going to be the part that we actually shows us killing the chariot.
You got this,
However
Ben.
long that takes, I may have to cut some of this down if it goes on way too long.
No, Ben, we do it all. This is nothing. We get every last drop.
I don't want to go over an hour though, Chris. Otherwise, people stop watching. In fact, a lot of people, an hour is even too long. But never mind.
An hour's not enough, Ben.
Feels like the sound effects in this are really loud, but I don't know. We'll probably hear it back on the record when we actually.
Yeah, along with that humming of the air conditioner, because it's in Michigan right now, and it is 95 degrees outside.
Roughly, yeah.
It is very hot.
Normally I turn off the AC on hotter days when we're trying to record, but today, no fucking way am I turning off the AC. I'm not gonna sit here inside with a computer in like 95 degree weather. So I'm sorry if you hear the hum really loud. You're just gonna have to deal with that.
Man, you're really crushing it with that Craftsman hammer.
They're not gonna charge me, are they? Fucking of course they are.
Well, they're coming. They know you're here. They can smell you.
They're coming. Oh. Do I want to actually wait or do I want to just try and run? I'm sure they won't chase me too terribly far. That never happens in Dark Souls.
That never happens.
Now I gotta try and get back into this. Because as with every other episode, it's been a while since I've played.
Yeah, I mean, we had a Grand Con for last weekend, so
Oh.
I made a couple weeks of that.
I forgot the skeleton.
Oh, no, you get...
Damn it!
Oh, no.
Are you kidding me? How did that happen? Shouldn't be able to do that.
Uh-oh, Ben.
Don't worry.
You're getting soft. You're getting soft.
Something. Don't worry, I'll just S this here. No big deal. Oh well.
Now, here's a question. Can you get his sweet weapon?
I don't believe so.
That's disappointing. Well, this guy, the Sin Edition, I did get a sweet drill dozer, so anything's possible.
It is true. I don't seem to know this edition very well. I seem to be repeatedly getting things wrong. And yeah, so anything goes in this version. Basically, it seems like I could think I'll know what's coming up ahead, and then it just won't happen, or something completely different will happen. I wonder if I can actually, come on, lock onto this guy. I'm gonna try and. I wish the lock-on works at longer distances.
You know what's really, really annoying about this? Is it takes so long to actually get there without it actually bonfire being right there. That's the real, like, screw you.
Well, I mean, as many bonfires as there are in Dark Souls 2, you know, I can't really complain too much. And again, this is an entirely optional boss.
This boss, Ben, is mandatory.
Well, we're making it mandatory. We're saying this is going to happen. Although, to be fair, if we kill these guys a couple more times, they'll probably stop spawning. I have no idea how many times we killed these guys so far. I tried to go back and rewatch the last bit we did, just to remind myself of what we were doing. But I didn't quite get to this point, so I don't know how many times we've killed these people so far.
Hammer time!
I love the backstab on that.
Crack eye orb.
Yeah. So we'll probably end up deviating a lot and having to try and come up with, like, random topics to talk about just to fill time in between commutes. Did this guy come down already? There he is.
Between commutes, Ben. Back and forth to the boss.
Yep.
It's our new 9 to 5. I just finished my 9 to 5, Ben. And I think it's time we play. This is going to be like our desert bus. Right?
Oh, don't even... Like, Desert Bus isn't even, like, fun from an ironic perspective, honestly.
I heard some people raised a lot of money doing that though.
That was who was that? I actually know because they work for the Escapists, and I used to watch a lot of their stuff. Come on, dude.
But didn't Penn and Teller have something to do with the desert bus?
Possibly. The ones I heard about doing it a lot were they were the people. I don't remember their names, but they worked for. They do a segment on Escapists, or did for a while. I have no idea if it's still going. I haven't watched it in ages. Something called Unskippable. They did a thing of desert bus to raise money. They raised quite a lot doing it. They're the only ones I know of who have done that, though. So I could be wrong. Maybe Penn and Teller did their own thing. Maybe I'm just like completely ignorant of a key part of this. So
all right, you got this. All right, now run and you get in a little cubby.
Yeah,
Be safe.
Chris, I know what I'm doing. I've done this a lot more than you.
Don't worry. I'm gonna give you. Oh, there's our souls.
There they are. And this is what we're supposed to be doing.
Including those guys.
Yeah, you know what those are?
What?
Damn it! The shield didn't help at all. The shield was supposed to block that. But yeah, you remember Dark Souls 1?
Yeah, I played a lot, played a number of times. Alright.
You remember Catacombs?
Yeah.
What did you have to do in the Catacombs, Chris?
Well, don't fall. Okay, here's what you had to do. You had to not fall and die. That was key.
Yes.
Let's see what
There was that. Well, like, no, not the Tomb of the Giants, the first part of the Catacombs.
Catacombs. Oh, you had to kill those things to keep all the skeletons from coming back.
You cross over the thing. You go down. It's fourth from the left, on the bottom row.
Lance, there we go.
Yes.
It just doesn't look like that. All right, so.
So yeah, you have the Grand Lance. But no, the Necromancers.
Okay, hold on here. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The thing is, I always had a holy sword of some sort to be able to
Take down the skeletons so they couldn't respawn them.
Yeah.
Even if we actually, I'm
this is
trying
the
to
way.
think, is
This
there
way,
a
right?
divine? Yes. I'm trying to think if there is a divine. I don't think there is a divine in this one. There's fire, lightning, dark, guy behind you, fire, lightning, dark, magic, raw, bleeding, poison, and
You jerk! What a
the one that's in the works off the lowest of your stats, which I can't remember what it is.
occult?
No,
dark.
No,
Ooh, what
dark is its own. No, there's another type of weapon that actually does it. I mentioned it before.
Dang it! I'm already burning my Estus. This sucks.
Basically, yeah. Estus with the bestest.
Alright, now I gotta go
Trying
down
to
here.
remember what that thing is called now.
I go down here, correct?
Oh, that's one way to get down there. We basically have to go across that bridge I went across. Like, I usually go down a little bit further up to avoid certain fights, but either way, as long as you get over there.
Is there a guy coming this way?
What is that thing? I don't think anyone follows you there. They're not supposed to.
You say that now until they do.
I say that now, and I'll probably be wrong. I generally am. That lance seems to chew those guys up, though.
Yeah, it does.
I might use that just to get to the freaking thing, and then switch back to my, like, Mega Hammer.
Do. Now we're gonna go up here and that guy follow me in here. Did you see me yet?
I don't know that he will. I've never had it happen, but that's not... I cannot 100% guarantee that he won't follow you in. Actually, I'm going to let you fight. I'm going to go grab some water real quick because my throat's starting to... Yeah.
Let's get a little bit of something.
No, it's just...
Alright, well, Ben's gone. I'm gonna just totally annihilate these fools. Because I'm top dog, yo. Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh! Oh, eat it, you little scumbag! Oh, my goodness. I hate these guys.
Oh, this guy's the whip guy. Oh, you're Chump McChumpsons.
See, I was going to assume that I was going to come back and watch you, or have you...
Be dead already?
Yeah, just watch you back at the bonfire and like, oh, I died.
Oh my goodness, I hate these guys.
They are kind of a menace, yes. But no, the reason I wanted water is because my throat's still a little bit scratchy, I guess, from Grand Con.
Yeah, my throat just got better. I in fact had an interview on when was that? A couple days ago, Wednesday. And my voice, I kind of sounded like this. I'm like, hey, you should give me like a social work job. I'm cool. I'm really nice to people. That sounded pretty bad.
Totally not a ghoul.
Totally not a ghoul.
See, it's even worse for me because I have a job as... Oh, apparently that dude followed you in. Ha ha. And that guy's just going to stand there and look at you. No, I think it's even worse for me because I have a job as tech support and I do work over the phones. So, like, I actually have to talk to people all day. Like, it very much is a job that requires my voice. Huh, I didn't kill that guy last time.
What? Alright, now, you're going to tell me the secret to this, Ben, because this is going to suck.
Well, like I said, all you have to do, that necromancer I killed, there's him, there's one other guy, and then the skeleton. Once you kill both of those, the skeletons will stay dead. Then you have to go all the way to the end, and there's a switch you have to pull. That's all there is to it, really.
Okay.
I mean, the concept is actually pretty easy to understand, but actually doing it is a fucking nightmare. Like, I generally die quite a lot on this boss, even on the original version on my own time.
Now, does our shield off 100% protection? I forget.
Yes, it does. But I think I ran out of stamina and just wasn't paying attention.
You know what I'm going to do then? Because those guys don't look too tough, do they? The necromancer guys? Because I can't do the lance. It just eats up too much stuff.
Okay. So what are you going to do?
I'm going to go with the craftsman hammer.
Okay. Yep, right there. You just yep. I mean, I really wish we had another Twinkling Titanite so we could upgrade it again.
Like, that's the thing. Like, look at that. Like, one hit with that will take my stamina down to nothing, so I really need that stamina. Alright, so I go left, right?
Yep. You go in there, you immediately go left. He is, I think, either the second or third cubby on the left. That's the first necromancer. I think you can actually get there if you sprint, but I wouldn't risk it if I were you. And then generally he will knock them down. I wouldn't stop to fight them. I would just keep moving. Oh, you have no stamina. Bloodstain. Or not.
Oh, I'm getting murdered here!
And now you got bleeding!
Oh, no!
Yeah, they...
Alright, back to the 9 to 5, baby.
Back to the 9 to 5, so... Commuting is fun.
Is this actually connected to anything right here?
I don't think so.
Of course not. That'd be silly. That'd be ridiculous. But there's a computer right here. Oh my goodness.
It was connected to the couch.
Oh yeah. See, the couch is an electrical source, though. Not that I'm aware of. Alright, now you can put it.
No, it doesn't. Okay. You can put it right next to where the mic is. Just be careful not to unplug the mic.
There we go. It's working. Alright.
Okay. I don't know how many of these USB ports in this new computer actually work.
Well, that one does.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That sucked. I'm so mad about that. Oh. You know
All
what?
right.
And I was running late, so I didn't even have a chance to stop for any Jello. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I wish I had food here, but I don't really think we have much.
Ugh.
I have. Oh, that's right. You and the freaking fat rolling. I hate
That's
fat
right.
rolling.
That lance is so heavy. It's so heavy.
I mean, at least we're not like moving really slow because they changed the way that like 100% weight does to you. Oh my word.
Also, it acts like a spear, so you can get defense when you're...
Something just... Oh, I think I just hit the ground, and that's why it exploded. So there's that guy. Yeah, this is actually quite good for taking out the general rabble, but definitely going to need to swap it out when I go in.
Oh, it's just too heavy. We need maneuverability. We got to run all over the place.
Yep. I always forget where all the... Ah, there's a guy. There's a guy.
See, I mean, like 2 hits of that thing takes down all your stamina. It's just too much. We need more Titanite.
We do. We actually need... We need a lot more Titanite so we can actually like start one shot, or at least like getting to the point where we can 2-shot those things, because that's... Oh. Butter! Ow, this is gonna hurt!
Uh-oh!
Oh, there we go! Ah, down I go.
Give me that controller!
Yep.
Alright, see, I'm like lounging when I'm doing this, folks. Like, I'm lying down. Because this is gonna suck.
That's why I have my gaming chair. It's actually quite comfortable. So, like, one of the things I was going to just talk about to stimulate conversation, at least give the viewer something interesting to listen to, while we die repeatedly. And hey, did that... Oh, no, this is that. Was I've recently started watching... have you ever seen the Plinkett reviews?
Yeah, some of them.
Some of them? Don't forget Guy Behind You as well.
I know, now I do.
So I started actually getting into those, because...
Like, I saw the he's the one who did the Avatar one and the Star Wars one, isn't it?
I assume he's done an Avatar one. I haven't seen that one yet.
He did the like the one for Star Wars Episode 1.
He did him for all 3 of the prequels, but yes, he is most famous for doing like the really bizarre review of Episode 1 of the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I do remember.
He's the guy who sounds like Buffalo Bill, like Star Wars Episode 1. Or
yes. Oh my! And like I laughed so hard when he got some of his friends. And he like lined them up on the couch and basically said like, okay, like I want you to describe the people in Star Wars Episode like the New Hope, like but not using like their names or like what they look like. And of course they were all to do it, but then he asked them to do it for the characters in Episode 1, and like they were all just like sitting there blank. And one guy's like, I can't do that.
Right. Well, that was that's actually become a kind of a famous test among critical circles. Again, they call it the Episode 1 test because well, I'm just gonna call him by Mike because the actual guy who voices him is named Mike Stacklasa. And if you listen to his real voice, he doesn't necessarily sound like Mr. Plinkett, but he says the reason he came up with the character of Mr. Plinkett is because he thinks his own voice sounds boring. Which I disagree with. I've heard him in interviews. It's definitely not as bad as some of like the fucking YouTube morons I've heard. It's not boring. It's also fairly inoffensive. So like, I don't know what he's necessarily worried about, but yeah, the character test.
Who is this guy?
He snuck up behind you. The character test was like, describe this character without talking about what they looked like, what they wore, what actor played them.
Son of a...
Yeah, eat the controller, Chris. That'll help.
Dad.
Yes. So without describing what they looked like, what they wore, what actor played them, what their occupation was, or what their role in the movie was.
Oh, yeah, that was it.
So, and the idea is the bigger description you can give of them, the better and stronger of a character they are. And as he pointed out, the ones from the original Star Wars movies passed the character test easy. Like, describe Han Solo.
Yeah. Yeah, he was like, he's a rogue, he's a scoundrel, like...
kind of a cavalier attitude, cocky, bit of a womanizer.
Yeah.
And then I think someone in the review actually says rogue with a heart of gold. So it's really easy to do. But then you get like a character like Qui-Gon Jinn, where the fuck do you go with that?
He's incompetent.
Incompetent. Not very good at lightsaber fighting, but seemed to feel qualified to train younger people.
Leggings, those good?
No.
Oh.
I don't believe so. They're good if you're
a rogue.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like he points out how none of them really are that good a character. None of them really have personality. Is kind of the idea.
No, they don't.
But that's what got me into it. Like someone said that he there are these reviews of like the prequel trilogy, so I went and I watched them all. And they're actually quite good. And they're really good if you haven't fucking hell.
Give me that controller.
If you haven't had a chance to develop like a good sense of literary critique and analysis, he does a really good job breaking down like what exactly we like in movies, what makes us like one type of story over another? Why we like certain characters and not others?
I'll be the first to say it, and it's going to make the internet hate us, but I did not enjoy the movie Avatar. I really didn't. Mind you, I want to say that it's not a bad movie. Like, it's not necessarily like a bad movie. Like, what's a really bad movie that I've seen recently? I watch them all the time. But
Ghostbusters.
The new Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
I would not say that's a bad movie.
I would.
I would say that's passable. Like, it's not like you have to really dig deep in to get to the bad stuff. I mean, where it's punishingly bad, where you beg for death, but you know it's not going to come. Oh, are all those people gone now? Did we kill them so much? Hey, Ben.
Probably. I think we finally have, but it's going to be a while till we get those other guys killed, because we haven't killed them as much.
Yeah. But, I try not to be too hard on movies. I watch really a lot of bad stuff. But, for the amount of money that, Avatar had...
That James Cameron put into Avatar, yeah.
Yeah, and for the fact that, I'll talk to people, and this is what really kind of gets me going, is I'll talk to people, and then they will say, Avatar is... Oh, great. Oh, great.
These guys aren't that tough, remember?
What in the world?
I mean, if you try to backstab them, they'll do that, but... If you just let them attack for a little bit, they're really easy, and then... Yeah, see? They're slow.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I had never actually watched Avatar. Well, I watched it once. It was when I was it was when I was on the way to a drill weekend. They always brought a bunch of random movies. None of them. They usually weren't very good. Occasionally, they get good stuff. Like you get the Hangover movie, which was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was good.
But then you get we watched Avatar one time, and I kind of half watched it, half listening to it. I couldn't really keep up with it, and then I just kind of fell asleep.
Yeah, it's what you are dead.
Not quite. Oh, there goes Chris. Bye, Chris.
I hate you, Dark Souls. I hate you so much. You're not fun anymore. You're not like it was the first time. but and people be like, this movie. I've heard people say this movie changed my life, and I was like, I don't know, and I can't figure that out. I can't figure out what about that movie makes people like it so much to the point where
Special effects.
I can see that, but I've seen so many other movies where the special effects are phenomenal, and the special effects weren't that amazing. And the story, I hate to say, the story was pretty bad. The fact that okay, I'll tell you what. The movie let's see. Let's just say Total Recall.
Okay.
Or RoboCop.
Ooh, RoboCop.
Okay, so those movies, the bad guys. And
Yep.
they're pretty bad. But, at the same time, everybody's kind of giving a wink and a nod at the camera. We all know these guys are bad guys. Even the bad guys are, the bad guys. And they seem to be having, a lot of fun being bad guys. Stealing teddy bears from orphans and, dipping them in acid while,
Right.
cackling maniacally. These aren't meant to be, real people.
They're not morally ambiguous.
They're not morally ambiguous. So that's one way. And so, so you're not supposed to empathize with these characters or, think they're great people or anything. And Avatar, does that, but, in a very serious degree. So, all the characters that are supposed to be these super bad guys who are just, we want X, Y, and Z, and we're willing to wipe out, a whole population just to get it because we're bad guys, because, we want to dump, stuff in the ocean because we don't like Captain Planet, we like pollution. It's honestly, that bad.
The Captain Planet level of villain.
Yeah, they're Captain Planet levels of, villainy. But, they're not, it's not the wink and the nod at the camera, so they're okay, it's, we're all on the same page, these guys are bad guys. It's this hyper serious, supposed to be these guys are bad, we hate them. And, there's no really, it's just a giant paper tiger for, the heroes to, punch on, which, I mean, if not done right, it's kind of very hokey and very kind of, boring,
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to, like any of these guys. They're nasty human beings. But getting back to my original point, I can't even remember where I was going with this. I don't like Avatar. That's the point.
Like I said, I've not seen it, but I like... Because I was talking about Mr. Plinkett just because I recently started getting into it.
You should watch his Avatar review. It is really good.
I'll put that next on my list. But I've been watching a lot of his other reviews based on movies I've seen. So, I watched those three. Watched his Star Trek review. Which I agree with him on some points, but I don't think the newer Star Trek, at least the first one, was that bad of a movie.
No, it wasn't that bad.
The second one, Into Darkness, it was okay, but I think they forgot that they were supposed to set up Khan as like the bad guy, so they had to bring in old Spock from the original to come in and say, "Yep, this guy's a villain. He's the worst guy we ever fought. Make sure to kill Khan because he's bad." Like they actually had to do that because they forgot to actually show us that he was meant to be the villain. Like that was the freaking bizarre thing about that. But the other thing was, as I'm watching through these, I saw that he reviewed the new Ghostbusters movie, and I'm like, I wonder what he thought of that. Because after going back and kind of looking at clips online, I've been able to figure out, and I mentioned to you before, I did not like the new Ghostbusters movies.
I bet I could tell you why you did it.
Well,
I didn't like it.
Well, hang on, I'll just explain. For those who don't know, or those, if I haven't mentioned it in other videos, I didn't watch any of the actual original Ghostbusters movies until a few weeks ago, when I had to like write a scenario for GrandCon that was last weekend.
Send your hate mail to Ben.
Yep, I'll take it. I don't really care. But like I hadn't watched any of the originals up until like a couple of weeks ago, and and before that I'd actually seen the newer Ghostbusters because I saw it in theaters. Me and a bunch of my friends go to watch movies occasionally. We just pick random ones. None of us really knew anything about the new Ghostbusters movie, so we went to watch it. And when other people asked me like, "How'd you like it? You think it's good?" I'm like, not really. I didn't really remember much about it, to be honest. I just remember that like, well, a couple things that I'll mention in a minute. But I remember not liking it very much, but I couldn't really explain why. And in retrospect, it's because I generally zoned out most of it. But then I went back and watched the other ones. And after I watched the other ones, I'm like, I can explain why I like these movies. I can explain why these movies are good. And then I went back and watched clips from the newer Ghostbusters, the 2016 version. And I'm like, let's see if I can figure out why I don't like this movie now. Like, let's try and point out some things about it that are bad. I'm going to freaking do this so you don't kill me. This might have been the guy who snuck up on you last time.
He did. What a jerk. Teach him a lesson, Ben. Drill it.
Yeah. Eat drill dozer, punk.
Yeah, hopefully these guys won't come back after we die from the Chariot again. Alright, continue on. Why didn't you like Ghostbusters?
So, as I was going back and watching it again, I remember what it was I didn't like about it. And that was the fact that they tried to make it a comedy without really understanding how comedies are supposed to work. So, like, in the original movie, the original Ghostbusters, you have scenes that are set up and they're, like, jokes and stuff. But the thing is, none of them really feel forced. All the jokes come up as, like, a natural, organic part of the story. And they don't... Well, I'll give you an example of, like, one of the scenes. And this is a scene I thought really could have been a funny, entertaining thing in the new Ghostbusters. But they ruined it, and I'll tell you how. So, when they're getting ready to get the car... Patty's the one who gets sent out to go and, like, get the car. And, she comes back with a hearse. And they're all talking about, like, oh, wow, this is a hearse. We didn't expect you were going to get us a freaking hearse. We wanted kind of like an actual car, like a van or something. And she goes, well, my grandpa works in or uncle works in a cemetery. What do you expect? And then someone makes mention, like, wow, I hope you checked the back to see if there was a body first. Now, the way they should have ended that scene was it should have ended right there with her just kind of looking at the car and going, as if the thought had never even occurred to her, and then had like the other characters nervously exchange glances, and that should have been the end of the scene. They didn't do that. What they did was they then had all the other women talk and throw out randomly, I hesitate to call them humorous one-liners, back to back for like the next 2 minutes, and they're just like just back and forth and constant talking, and it really kind of destroyed the feel the feel of the scene I felt that they were meant to be going for. And I'll cover it a bit more after I try and kill the executioner. I'm going to see if I can actually get to this. Come on, get there! Get it!
Uh-oh, now the onslaught of skeletons.
Fuck! Oh! Butter!
Get out of there!
Drink first. Okay.
Oh, so I'm gonna explain to you why I think that
What the hell? I was in the thing!
Oh, you're still alive!
For now.
Just kidding. Oh, Ben! You're so hot, Ben. Oh my goodness.
Now, the next guy should be right up here in this cubby. Right. Ah, fuck, I missed it by one. He's pretty close. There he is.
Just
Roll! Oh, you're kidding me! Are you kidding me? I was in the thing. I was in the hole.
yeah, right, Ben.
So, all right. So now that's done, I'll go back to explaining kind of like that scene.
Entertain our listeners while I die,
Yeah,
Ben.
that scene really got broken for me by the fact that they didn't know how to pace up the jokes, and really like pacing is kind of one of the key things of it. So like here, I'm gonna throw out a joke there to let you kind of like help me illustrate what what's the problem with it. So Chris, what is the key to comedy? Or no, ask me what the key to comedy is.
What's the key to comedy?
Timing. See what I did there? But yeah, it goes towards a point. Like, the key to comedy is timing. You have to time out a joke and pace it out well. And the original Ghostbusters knew how to do that. But the newer one doesn't seem to really know what they're doing as far as that goes. So, like, one of the examples of that for, like, how the timing really ruined it for me was, well, the first time they used the proton packs in the new ones. Which, incidentally, mimicked all of the one in the original where they first used the proton packs in a lot of ways. But in the more recent one, they had and this is a joke that actually kind of made me chuckle until they ruined it. And the joke was, like, for anyone who's seen it, you remember that bit where, like, they're in the subway and, like, that big ghost, that pirate ghost thing or whatever is coming at them, and they're getting ready to test out the proton pack, and, what's her name, Jill something? Kristen Wiig's character.
Uh-huh.
Jill, whatever her name is, I don't remember what her name. But she gets ready to use the proton pack, and she goes to zap it, and it gets that little and into the ground.
Uh-huh.
That was entertaining, especially when like Kate McKinnon went, oh, and like again, that's what the joke should have stopped. They should have given us a minute to kind of digest that and enjoy the joke. And instead, what happened? Like Melissa McCarthy prepped him with something, and then whatever her name was, I know she's called. Her name was Patty, and I don't remember what the actress's name is. But like they both start piping up, and then Kristen Wiig starts saying things, and she's like like for the next like couple of minutes as they're trying to get the proton pack to work, and there's just no silence at any point during that scene, just constant blabber. Meanwhile, if you look at, say, for example, the original Ghostbusters, and as Chris dies again,
Screw you, Dark Souls! When I find you up on the street, I'm gonna sneak up behind you and hit you with a sock with a big. Then
well,
hide
blame
your body in a dumpster.
Blame From Software for that.
Oh my goodness! But I love you. Don't leave me from software.
Yeah.
I keep making games.
Like they abuse you, and then like you get mad at them, but then you go back for more because
because I can't help myself. But I like the reason why I didn't like the new Ghostbusters, which I didn't think it was a terrible movie. Like I
can I finish up the thought on this and then?
I guess.
Sorry, it kind of goes to the point because I was trying to compare it to an actual thing, but in the original Ghostbusters, the first time they used the proton packs, the thing that makes it good is it's largely silent. Like they're walking through the halls of the hotel and like no one's really saying anything, and it's good because it means it's tense. You don't know what to expect. There are ghosts. The main characters are scared. They're running around like, oh, I wonder if something's going to come out at us. We need to be really careful. Like, it was all fairly serious for the most part. And then out of nowhere, the maid comes up behind them, and they are so on edge, they turn around and basically blast the maid's cart. And like then after they do it, there's like a silence for a little bit as you kind of.
What are you doing?
Yeah, like it pans across the cart. You see just the cart utterly destroyed. You see them looking at each other nervously, and then the maid comes out. The hell you guys doing? And they go, oh, sorry, we thought you were somebody else. Now, just saying a joke like we thought you were somebody else, that's not in and of itself that funny. The funny was in how they set it up. Like, they gave you a chance to kind of understand the dynamics of the scene. They set it up to be this really creepy kind of, fuck you, I went in my power attack. How did you not... I'm gonna die here again. I counterattacks too freaking quickly.
Give it up.
So, they give you a chance to kind of understand what the scene is like, what the tone of the scene is meant to be. And then they kind of subvert it at that last minute to show them like blasting an innocent, maid cart for no reason. That was entertaining. That was what I'm talking about with like timing and how you time and pace out a joke. And it worked really well. None of that happened in the original or in the new Ghostbusters. So now you can go back and make your point if you would like.
I'm too focused on dying.
Okay. I will then
Real
continue on my
dozer.
little rant about it.
Yeah,
'Cause
no, I'll go on. So what I did, well, I didn't think it was a terrible movie because I make a big distinction with what's a really bad movie than what's like a, just a passable movie. And I consider that to be a passable movie. I mean, you can you can enjoy it once, and you can get like your $7-8 worth.
I don't think I got my $7-8 worth, honestly.
Well, my goodness.
But like as I'm watching it more, like the more I watch it, the more I watch it, the more I realize that none of the jokes really came up organically. They all seemed really forced.
Yeah, and that's do you remember the movie and I think this is the really reason why they did this badly. Do you remember I didn't start with Starsky and Hutch, but you remember the remake of Starsky and Hutch?
I heard of it. I never saw it.
Okay, and they did the new one with oh my goodness, it was
I think I saw Ben Stiller was in it.
yeah.
Was it Owen Wilson was the other one? Or
yeah, it was, and there
Luke
was
Wilson.
the other movie I'm thinking about was where they were all kids in high school, and it was Channing Tatum and the other guy. Oh, what was that movie?
21 Jump Street.
Yeah, that was the one. Where it was like, it was funny because like it was like, hey, it's like we all know we're in on the joke, and we're not making like the new serious 21 Jump Street. We're making this thing which we know we're making 21 Jump Street. Hey, look at them all, bunch of jerks.
4 of them
Oh,
like gang piled on you. Well, here's the thing: the style they did in Ghostbusters can work. It's not great with Ghostbusters.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, in those types of movies, like, the jokes are just coming fast and furious, and, like, they're kind of poking fun at themselves at the same time, and there's no amount of, like seriousness to it. It's all this kind of, witty banter and, kind of,
Right. Well, and the thing I think made the original Ghostbusters good was that they had a plot, and that they stuck to the plot very, very strictly. Like, if you look at the intro to the original Ghostbusters, we'll look at the intro to the new Ghostbusters first. That thing goes on for 10 minutes before the opening, like, kind of like a little, Ghostbusters thing come off, and then you hear the da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, there's about 10 minutes of that, and most of it is really pointless. Like, all you really need to show was the guy, like, walking through the house, and then, like, the ghost showing up, and him getting really freaked out by it. That was the only bit you needed for, like, the point of the scene to come across. Instead, they spend so long setting this guy up as, like, this weird con man who doesn't believe in the supernatural. He talks about, like, P.T. Barnum and slaving elephants, I think was the line. Something along... Just a bunch of random weird jokes and oddness that doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the movie, but it just kind of drags on so long. And if you look conversely at the original Ghostbusters, the opening scene was just... There's a woman in the basement of a library, things start going weird, she gets freaked out, and then the Ghostbusters... the Ghostbusters theme... or the Ghostbusters intro comes on. It only lasted about 2 minutes, but everything was there that needed to be there, and it set up the movie to be a bit of a campy sci-fi horror thing, where like there's going to be ghosts, and it's going to be a bit creepy, and it's going to be tense, but you could enjoy it.
Yeah. Also, if you think about it, like the new movie is like a complete and utter comedy. There is nothing scary or really serious about it. In any way. And if you think about like less a second with the first one, it was kind of a light horror movie with lots of comedy undertones. I mean, you listen to the way they talk about like this weird like occult stuff going on, and there's this serious undertone to like everything they're doing, but at the same time like they're cracking jokes and they're funny. But, like, they're talking about all these, like, occult gods and Zool, and, like, I remember I was terrified when I was a kid. I watched it every day, but I was terrified.
Right. Well, that was kind of the point. Like, it was kind of a lighthearted sci-fi horror thing, and I think it worked well because everything, like I said, everything came up within the course of the plot. Anytime a scene came up, like, the point of the scene was to either, like, move the narrative along to establish something about the world or develop character. Like, there's the whole comedy scene where, like, Venkman tricks Ray into, like, mortgaging, like, putting a third mortgage on his house, and gets a really bad rate for him. And, like, people think, oh, yeah, it's just, like, a comedy thing. And if you think that's just a comedy bit, then you've missed the point. The point was to establish Venkman as an utter douchebag. He's a manipulative con man asshole whose whole point was to try and use the other two for everything he could get out of it. That was what that scene was meant to establish, and it did so very, very well. None of the comedy scenes in this new one establish character. And the Mr. Plinkett review kind of goes into that a bit, because after I kind of went back and rewatched it to establish, what I didn't like about it, I went and watched the Plinkett review. And he brings up a lot of the similar points that I've brought up. There's a few other ones I haven't talked about that he does, and that I also noticed. But one of the big things he points out is, and this is why I like watching him, because he went into like the extra, like all the extra features and like director's commentary and everything. And there's a bit where you see Paul Feig, the director/writer, talking about what he was trying to do with the movie. And with one line, I got everything that was wrong about that movie, and it perfectly explained all the problems I had with it. And the one line was, you know what? We've got 4 really talented comedians, and we're going to put them in there, and this is just going to work. And I'm like, oh, you really don't understand what you're trying to do you? Like, and that can work in certain genres.
I mean,
like,
it's not a Mel Brooks movie or a sketch comedy.
Well, no, that's the thing. Like, if it's a movie like Step Brothers or Knocked Up, or a lot of those other movies.
We're not
like
really going to see it for the plot.
Seth Rogen or anything like that. There's no plot to Step Brothers, really. Like, Will Ferrell and, what's his name? I'm forgetting him.
John C. Reilly?
John C. Reilly. Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly are fully grown adults who get...
criminally underrated actor.
Right. Well, those who get, they're 40-year-olds living with their parents get married, and then they just do stuff. It can work in that because there's not really a plot. More, the point of it is just to watch, these 2 comedians do stupid shit and laugh at them. And that actually doesn't work too bad, especially in those genres. But when you're talking about, a Ghostbusters type thing or a sci-fi horror, you need to have a plot and you need to stick to it. Everything in that movie should stick to that plot. Brent Weeks, who he wrote if you ever heard of the Night Angel trilogy, he wrote that. Really good books, really dark fantasy. I quite like them. But he was in an interview once, and I watched him, and he was talking, and fuck, I'm going to get hit here, that's damaging.
Oh, you don't die automatically, though?
You can take a hit or two, but...
You can't take a hit
I
from
can't
20
take
different
hit from
skeletons.
No, that can't happen. But he made a point in one of his interviews. When he was talking about writing, how he came to, write what he did. He said, the best advice I was given is this. You're not done writing when there's nothing left to add. You're done writing when there's nothing left to remove. And when you're doing a narrative-based movie like the original Ghostbusters was, and like the new Ghostbusters was supposed to be, because let's be honest, the only reason you're making a movie with the same name as Ghostbusters is to cash in. That's the only reason. So, I mean, when you're making a movie like that, it's a narrative-focused movie. It's got to be. So, you throw all these actors in there, who were all basically told to improv most of it. In fact, I think he said roughly 85 to 90% of it was improv. And they would just...
That makes a lot of sense.
Right, and basically for most of the scenes, he had the idea of what he wanted the scene to be like. Okay, it's they're going to test the prototype packs, it's going to be a ghost. And then from there, he just let them improv everything. That was it. There was a couple lines that would be written in, and then the rest was just them improving. And especially there was in the scene near the end, they were showing it off. How when they were filming, well, it was both the 2 ones they showed off. It was the one where they first got into the I can't remember the theater, whatever it was, where Chris Hemsworth's character was holed up, and it was that scene. And then there was a scene where they were trying to fight the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man again, and they showed bits from both of them. And basically, it was just both of those scenes. They just filmed an hour or so of footage of just these 4 people improving. And that's all it was. Which, you can't do that for a narrative-based film. It just doesn't work. And especially because if you listen to a lot of the jokes they ended up leaving in, one of the ones that sticks out to me was Melissa McCarthy comes in and yells, "Come get your virginity out of the lost and found." And my thought was, what the fuck does that even mean? What's the comedy... Because, people laughed at it. People were oh, this is hilarious. I get she mentioned virginity, ha ha ha. I'm like, but no, really, what's the punchline there? Are you implying that his virginity is in the lost and found? So wouldn't that mean it was lost? So he lost his virginity, and you are having...
I can make it!
I don't think you can. I don't believe you. Cue the Benny Hill music.
No! You son of a bitch!
Yeah, Pyroman's him to death. This'll totally work.
Oh, you son of a bitch! hate you, Dark Souls!
Oh, I was waiting for that to happen, and then it did. I'm so happy.
Hate this. I hate you. Oh my goodness.
So, getting back to what I was saying, like, the joke, when you start thinking about some of these jokes, a lot of them really don't make sense. But I guess when you're just told, like, yeah, just say a bunch of random things you think are funny, eventually you're going to run out of things to say, and, like, the stuff you say will stop making sense.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, devolve into fart jokes, like what they tried to do a couple times. It's like, you can't really do a movie like... So that's the basic reason why I didn't like the new Ghostbusters. And not because, like, I am an irritated fanboy who's aggravated because it wasn't exactly like the original. Because it actually was a lot like the originals, except in the ways that it was good. Or that the originals were good.
Well, yeah, because it was like...
Point for point.
Yeah, almost, but like how...
Fuck.
See you later. But I really understand, like, how you said it, like, because I can exactly see how it did it. Because what'll happen is, all right, point a plot for the scene, and then improv for however long it takes to drum up jokes, and then so, like, that's how the movie progresses. There is a scene which involves sort of a plot of them doing something or kind of explaining something happens, and then there's just this period of time where everyone's just cracking jokes for a couple minutes, move on to the next thing, where things happen, and then more jokes are cracked for a couple minutes, and the next one, it follows that same thing. Because, like, yeah, if you're having a scene where he says, like, do these things, and then crack improv jokes for, however long it takes to, that's exactly what those scenes were, and I think that's why I think that it didn't quite work the way they wanted to. It didn't quite mesh.
Well, everyone I've talked to has said that they've enjoyed the movie. Because I talked to a friend of ours, and I'll tell you who it was. But when I was talking about how I hated the new Ghostbusters movie, he's like, really? I thought it was amazing.
Who said that?
Well, I'll tell you when we're done with this. I don't want to say his name on the thing. You died.
Then I'm gonna take this upstairs, and I'm gonna throw your console off the
Don't
roof.
do that. I just got this computer.
And then I'm gonna sit there, and I'm just gonna stare at it while it's smoking on the ground.
Don't break my freaking computer, dude. But no, like, when I probe further, and I've asked other people who've liked the movie, and they've all said basically the same thing. But as this time, I'm like, why do you think it was funny? He goes, well, the thing is, me and my wife are huge fans of Melissa McCarthy. Like, we watch a lot of stuff with her in it. We always think she's funny. I'm like, and he couldn't really give a reason other than that for, well, Melissa McCarthy was in it and she's funny.
Well, I mean, like, if you were going to, like, see, like, an hour and a half, 2 hours of, like improv stand-up, it'd be great because it's just them doing improv stand-up for hours, but with, like, a small setup, like...
Well, here's the thing. If you want to do that, follow the UK's model. Panel shows. I love British panel shows. Because if you can get good improv comedians...
My wife
like,
is addicted to them. She can't stop watching them.
Who's her favorite... Let me ask you this. Who's her favorite panelist?
It's either Richard how do you pronounce his name?
Richard Iowati.
Richard Iowati or he always gets paired up with, I can't remember his name.
Noel Fielding?
Yeah, he plays Richmond on
yes, absolutely. Richard Iowati and Noel Fielding. Those guys are amazing.
I can't remember the other the two guys that do the Mitchell and Webb look, but it's Mitchell. David Mitchell.
David Mitchell.
He's pretty darn funny too.
Yes.
I get endless satisfaction out of watching, I think it's the Big Fat Quiz Show of the Year.
Oh, I've watched every single one of those.
Of watching them just, who's the host? What is his name?
Jimmy Carr.
Jimmy Carr. Of watching just everyone just...
Rip on him for the tax thing?
Just lay into Jimmy Carr. Just so hard.
Oh, yes.
And like I've seen it, and the other episodes are not as bad, but the later episodes are just like, just laying into everything he says. And it is amazing.
Like the earliest episodes where they didn't really have the formula established yet and didn't really know what they were doing. Also, it kind of helped when it was, I think it was 2010, he got busted for tax fraud.
Who did?
Jimmy Carr. Like, have you not heard of them constantly ripping on him for that? Like, every time someone talks about, like, Richard Iowati, I think, does one time, they're talking about, like, people doing their tax, and Jimmy Carr goes, no, that was me. He goes, Richard Iowati goes, no, you did not do your tax. And that was, because, and every single time you hear a tax joke, listen, someone will make fun of Jimmy Carr for it, because there's a tax scandal in the UK where a bunch of people were hiding their wealth offshore.
Oh, yeah.
And the only reason Jimmy Carr got caught up in it was because apparently his accountant went up to him and said, hey, Jimmy, you want to not pay as much tax? And he went, yeah, sure. And then didn't bother to look into it anymore. And then the accountant just hid a bunch of his stuff offshore. Also, apparently, during that whole thing, at one point, David Cameron was in a meeting with Barack Obama and a bunch of world leaders. and he actively came out of the meeting just to say that Jimmy Carr was a dick.
Who did?
David Cameron, the former Prime Minister of the UK, came out of a meeting with Barack Obama and like all these other big, like Justin Trudeau and a lot of the other world leaders, just to call Jimmy Carr a dick. Actually, it wouldn't have been Justin Trudeau at the time. It would have been who was the last Prime Minister of Canada? I should know this. He was Conservative Party.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Canadians will know who I'm talking about. Apparently, he was fairly unpopular with a lot of people, but
Oh yeah, he scraped him out of the barrel for popularity ratings. He was not popular. I do remember that fact.
But anyway, no, like I would say, I love panel shows. I got into them because I found out that the guy from IT Crowd was in it, in like one of them, and the whole thing was there was a clip of him on one of the shows deconstructing a stupid joke someone had made about like, I think the joke was something along the line, because the guy was from Birmingham. The joke was like, why does the Queen have so many children? Because she's got the letters ER on your knickers, or on her knickers. And in Birmingham, if you say it with a Birmingham accent, it sounds like ER, which is similar to saying here you are, which is a Birmingham way of saying, yeah, you know, you want some of this. And that was the whole idea of the joke. It relied on a really dumb verbal pun that you'd only get if you're from Birmingham. And Jimmy Carr kind of ripped on it for a little bit. And then Richard Iowati and David Mitchell just went to town on him.
Oh, yeah.
And I was laughing my ass off the whole time. But, like, getting back to kind of the main point, that's, if you want to have, like, a comedy with improv, like, comedians and stuff, do that. Those are amazing. Like, I will watch pretty much any panel show if it's got Richard Iowati or David Mitchell in it. Or, I also really like Rob Brydon. They've got a few other good ones. I can't remember. QI is another one I just I like in general. Maybe has some pretty good episodes on that. But like do something like that. It is not really a good practice to kind of put it in a film. And the people like this guy I was mentioning who just like, yeah, you know, we really like Melissa McCarthy and she's in it. It kind of goes to, is he gonna do it? Yeah, oh, awesome!
Eat it.
I don't know why I think if you just hang back enough, he'll just walk off. Apparently. And he's still alive!
Oh, he's coming for you.
Ah, no, he's not. I'm going to run. I'm going to leg it.
You're going to leg it all the way there?
Leg it all the way there. Oh, no! See, I was waiting for you to do something stupid like that.
Oh, my goodness. Woo! Is it hot in here? My goodness.
Wow. There goes me looking dumb. And the worst part is my bloodstain's going to be on somebody else's game. Someone's going to watch me with a bloodstain and go, ha ha, fucking idiot. And I totally deserve that. Well, I think he's dead.
Yeah.
So no, it kind of says something that the only good thing you can say is, you know, I liked it because Melissa McCarthy was in it. It's like, yep, there you go, well-trained circus seal. Melissa McCarthy, yeah, let's clap because we're trained to do it, you know? Like, let's not actually analyze the film for what it is, or, like, pay attention to, you know, if the jokes are funny or not. Melissa McCarthy's saying things, it's obviously funny, you conditioned fuck.
She's pretty funny. And like,
well, she is for the most part. And here's the thing. I like a lot of the movies she's been in. I thought Spy was actually pretty funny. I mean, some of the jokes were really dumb and not very well constructed, but for the most part, it was a decent watch. Spy was what I would say was a passable, watchable film. Because it had its moments, like, bits where it was funny, partly because they knew how to, like, pace out the jokes and time the humor and everything. And the plot was still there. Like, you could tell what the plot was, and the scenes all kind of went around that, and the jokes supported it. But crap like this, and you can say all you want about the original Ghostbusters and, like, the jokes that they had there. Like I said, they came up fairly naturally. So, like, the scene where, what was it? Where they're in an elevator in the hotel, and Ray mentions, like, you know, we probably should have tested these things.
Oh my goodness, it seems amazing. He turns it on, and then like you see Egon Spengler like slowly, like the smartest guy there, like slowly kind of like press himself up against the elevator as it's charging up.
Well, again, that's kind of the point. Like, but the other thing I remember about that scene was as they're like getting ready to turn it on, Ray goes, "We probably should have tested these things earlier," and Egan goes, "Yeah, I blame myself," and Venkman goes, "Yeah, I blame you too." Like, that's a funny line. It came up organically as they're talking about something inherent in the plot. It was a structured joke. And then they do the thing where they turn it on. There's nothing said. There's no words. There's no attempt at joke. It's just Egon kind of goes, up against the side of the elevator, and the other
Which
dude just
still is
looked really
kind of-
nervous.
Which is still kind of amazing. I think he says like we haven't quite had a successful test of this equipment yet. Just like, oh goodness.
Right. Well, hey, this guy's gone.
Yeah, we killed him.
We killed him enough times, finally. Fuck. It took us ages to get here, but here we are, apparently. He's gone. He's never coming back. You know, I always actually feel kind of bad when that happens, other than runs where I'm intentionally trying to do it. The world just feels a bit more lonely when they stop spawning. Cocking! I mean, I won't necessarily miss these guys, but...
Yeah, because they're jerks.
Also, any and all the souls that they were carrying are gone now forever.
Good.
So the min-maxer in me is a bit sad by that, but whatever.
Good riddance to bad rubbish.
You know, it's funny, I said the same thing earlier today about Brad Osmus.
I know what you're talking about.
Random non sequitur. The Detroit Tigers said that they weren't bringing back Brad Osmus at the end of next year. Sports ball, yeah. Detroit Tigers, because Brad Osmus has been like ruining the Tigers for way too long, and now they're rebuilding, he's going away. So I said that in a Facebook post. Good riddance to bad rubbish. So Brad Osmus is no more. Bye bye, Brad Osmus. You will not be missed.
Oh goodness.
Anyway, as we try to wrap up the whole Ghostbusters thing, I mean, I really do think it's a bad movie. The original ones were good. Even the second one I kind of enjoyed, though it was a bit... It did have the problem of being a bit of a point for point. They did some new stuff, but...
Ben, did you actually think that was a bad movie?
Ghostbusters?
Yes.
New one?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll introduce you to some movie friends of mine. Some tasty delights of movies that I've watched over the years.
Well,
I watched them together.
I'm not talking bad as in, like, Psycho Kickboxer. Or...
that movie's amazing! Go watch like Kickboxer right now.
I'm not talking
It'll
like
change your life.
I'm not talking Psycho Kickboxer. I'm not talking like Jim Cotta. I'm not talking like...
Have some sandwiches.
Oh my word. Don't quote that movie. I'm not talking like that. I'm not talking like Mono's Hands of Fate. I'm not talking like the movies that would make it onto an MST3K episode.
Yeah, and
Those movies are absolutely abysmal. I'm talking in terms of like a movie, especially in terms of a AAA movie, that could legitimately compete in today's market. So like the Star Wars prequels, those were bad movies.
Yeah.
They were really bad movies. Ghostbusters is better than those movies, but it's still a bad movie.
I'll tell you what, like, even though like people did things for a reason in Ghostbusters, if you watch the... Oh my goodness!
Eat it!
That was an awesome max tab. I love this thing. But like in the original Star Wars, like people like I watched the original a while back because I was like it couldn't be this bad as I remember, and I did, and I was like, why are the people doing the things that they're doing? There's no like real reason.
Are you talking the prequels?
Yeah. Well, in the second one, there's a little bit more like structured plot, kind of. But like in the first one, it's really like these people need to be here to do this thing so that stuff happens. There's no really reason for them to do it. It's like if you're writing a story, you know, backwards instead of forwards, and you have to justify the reason why people do things.
That summarizes the prequels in a nutshell. Yep, that's basically their problem.
But the first one was really egregious at it. Like the second and third one, they kind of weren't as bad, you know. Where like you know
they had their moments.
It's like premeditated murder versus just accidentally running over somebody with like a lawnmower by accident because you were guzzling down pop-off vodka and
right.
decide to
drive
down by the park where people are sunbathing. Like you're both
bad.
bad.
That's a Saints Row thing to do right there.
Yeah.
But what was it? No, the Plickett reviews actually do mention. In fact, especially in like the Phantom Menace review, one of the things he says was like,
what's down there in that thing down there? We need probably a ring to get that, don't we? Drop down there and get that little shiny.
I meant to get it earlier because we were down there. Remember when I pointed out that like we were down there? I'm like, oh, I didn't know this went all the way over there.
Is there anything good?
I don't know, and I don't want to try and get it.
No, we're not doing it. We're too late. We're too far in, Ben.
Okay.
We're too far in. We're already there.
But no, like he does talk about like in his Phantom Menace review. His thing is like whenever you find yourself asking, dude, what? For every single action character's making a film, that's generally not a good sign. Because you do that a lot in Phantom Menace. And all the stupid, pointless things. Like, why did Qui-Gon Jinn come up with such an elaborate plot to try and get those engine parts when there were about a dozen other ways he could have done it that would have been less stupid.
Well, yeah, like in the original one, like it was like, we need to get off this planet. Let's just hire a dude to fly us there.
Basically.
Because we only need a one-way trip, so it doesn't matter how much money, because when we get to the main planet, we'll have tons of cash that, like, the rebellion can just, like, funnel us money.
Right. Well, and the thing was, he had 50,000 Republic dignitaries. Surely he could have hired someone like that, who, even though it was useless on Tatooine, someone who flew around other planets could have potentially used that money. But then it begs another question. If we're talking about getting in and out as quick as possible, why the fuck would you take the bizarre cartoon rabbit, the vulnerable teenage girl, and the really slow-moving, like, astromech droid? Like, there was no reason for him to take those three things and leave the two most intelligent characters in the plot behind on the ship. Oh! Oh, yes! Oh, look at that.
Do it.
Pro skills. Lead. Ah! Maybe not pro skills. Uh-oh. Ah!
Oh, you're still alive. You still got hot to chop, baby. Go for it. Oh, no!
There aren't enough of those cubbies later on. I need to not move as quickly as I am.
Oh, he's right there, too. Oh, he's so gutsy.
But, yeah, like, nothing in those movies makes any sense. And that's something else I noticed while I talk about the lack of, like, character building or plot making sense in that one. Here's an interesting thing I've noticed, and I've asked loads of people, none of them can explain it. So at the end of episode 3, Anakin Skywalker was really pissed off at Obi-Wan for some reason. Question, why was Anakin really pissed off at Obi-Wan?
I don't even remember. Like, I don't remember much about those movies.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's never really explained. And the crazy thing is, especially if you watch the original trilogy, Obi-Wan... I wouldn't go down there if I were you. Oh, he's not here. Okay, never mind. Apparently he was a one-time spawn. Yeah, like, it's... The original trilogy describes the fall of Anakin Skywalker, and it's all one sentence, too. Like, just a simple sentence in A New Hope, where, when asking about Vader, Obi-Wan says, Vader was a brave and noble Jedi who was seduced by the dark side. Making it sound like, Darth Vader himself / Anakin Skywalker was a good, noble person who Obi-Wan also describes as a good friend, and it seems like he means it. Mm-hmm. And he describes all these things about him. But then you watch him in, like, the prequels, and he's just a fucking dick the whole time. Like, in the first movie, he's kind of a whiny little kid.
Oh, you little...
In Attack of the Clones, he's a dickbag who constantly questions Obi-Wan Kenobi, talks to Padme about how he supports a fascist dictatorship, murders a bunch of people.
I mean, yeah, like, like, he's basically saying we should kill everybody and I should be in charge. And she's like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, like, that's another, like, why did Padme fall in love with this jackass? Like, he does nothing to earn it, and he murders a bunch of people and brings home a corpse. Like, it's, like, nothing he does should have made her love him.
And like, the fall was, like, it wasn't, like, very believable. There wasn't this, like, slow decline. It was, like, it was all of a sudden...
Like, by the third movie, he literally looks like a villain. He's wearing all black, constantly has a scowl on his face, and his hair is long and unkempt. Like, he legitimately... He already looks like a Sith Lord at that point, when he was still supposed to be, like, on the good side. And then just... Like, mind you, the whole reason he's supposed to be turned to the dark side in the first place, or at least in the prequel trilogy, the reason he's supposed to have turned, was to try and save Padme, because he had a vision of, like, her dying in childbirth, which is somehow still a thing, despite all the
medical
all the medical technology they have.
I mean, this is Star Wars. You can drive faster than light, but, childbirth still, #1 killer.
Oh, yeah, like, that was freaking bizarre. But, no, and he has his vision of her dying in childbirth. And the whole reason he decides to join the dark side was because he and Palpatine had this conversation where Chancellor Palpatine straight up says, I heard about this one Sith Lord who could even stop people from dying. Right around the time he's getting glimpses of someone he loves dying. I get the feeling that, like, Chancellor Palpatine could have flat out said, Anakin, the Sith Lords have the ability to stop women who are at risk of dying in childbirth. He could have said that exact sentence, and Anakin probably still would have just gone with it. That's how freaking blatant it was by the end. And then, even then, after saying, like, you can save people from dying, when Anakin goes, I will do whatever you want, just help me save Padme, and then the Emperor goes, I don't know the exact secret, but if we work together, we can figure it out. At which point Anakin really should have said, wait, you mean you don't know? You told me and implied heavily that you knew. Also, you said we're going to look and try and figure into it. My woman's going to give birth pretty much anytime soon to a set of full-grown twins. We might want to get on that pretty quickly. And then instead of like getting on that, he goes, no, go kill all the Jedi, including the children. And Anakin just goes, oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we're just going to go murder children. That's probably fine. Or younglings, as they're called in the Star Wars prequels, so that we don't actually so that in a movie designed for children, they don't have to use the phrase.
Is that a new thing?
I think we already have it.
Oh.
But no, they called them younglings, so that in a movie aimed at children, they wouldn't have to use the phrase "killed children," because that would have been awful. So there was that. But then again, like he just kind of completely gives up on the whole Padme's gonna die thing, and he just goes straight up evil for no reason. You know, what's the point of this? Also, the whole idea that Anakin was meant to be like some destined savior. They basically made him Space Jesus. I think that's the actual term Mr. Plinkett uses in his review too, is Space Jesus. Like it's implied that he has a virginal birth, like there's a prophecy around him, and he's going to bring balance to the Force or something.
I just think the Jedi Council was incredibly incompetent and bad at their job.
Well, yeah, that was another part of it. Like, how the fuck could you not know that Palpatine... How did they not know that Palpatine was a Sith? And B, when they even suspected it and Anakin told them Palpatine's a Sith, did they not find another way to deal with things? Like, why wouldn't they not just go to the Senate that's in session at the time and say, we think Palpatine's a Sith? Why would they not get, like, one of the other senators to introduce some legislation? Because he wanted, like, basically permanent long-term power and got it.
Well, yeah.
And, like, nobody at any point said, hey, why do you want permanent long-term power? Let's introduce legislation to, like, stop this. And then if he fights the legislation, make him explain why. Or, you know, if you're going to confront him at all to arrest him, do it in a public place. Like the Senate that is in session. Because then if he tries to either fight or escape, he'll prove that he's a Sith.
Yeah, what's going to happen when you bring out a lightsaber and he gives out his lightsaber?
Yeah, like he whips out a lightsaber. Oh, he must be a Sith because he's got a red lightsaber. I'm going to change over here, but like, it makes no sense. Why did there were like a dozen other ways they could have gotten around it, and like, no, we're just going to confront him in a private place where he could theoretically murder us, and then not tell anybody about it.
Well, also because I'm utterly convinced that it almost makes it seem like that Palpatine was right. Like the Jedi Council is decadent and incompetent and isn't able to like do their job.
What? I was totally in the hole on that.
Give it to me, Ben.
Oh well.
Give it to me.
We're at over an hour now, so I'm gonna actually call it for this part, and we will try this again now. I wanted to do this all in one.
What I tell you, Ben, it ain't gonna happen.
I might even edit these two together. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
But then we'll lose all our
Lose all the good banter.
All the good banter.
All right. So while Chris gets this, why are you equipping the dragon tooth? All right. Chris is apparently going to try and use the dragon tooth. So as he's going off here, I'm going to call it off here. But thanks as always for watching, guys. Thanks for listening to our utterly pointless film-related banter.
We're film critics.
Yeah, or at least I play one on the internet. So there's that. But anyway, I'll call it here. Thanks as always for watching, guys. I was Ben.
And I'm Chris.
And this was Dark Souls 2 Massive Failure. See you next time, everyone.